All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Jump Master X podcast, and today we're going to be talking about how to dunk under 6 foot. If you're a short king, how to dunk, how to get up there and start punching it. All right, so let's be real. If you're under 6 foot, people assume like it's impossible to dunk. Like you'll never dunk, and like maybe people don't directly say this, but this is the thoughts that go through someone's head if they're shorter. Like, if you're 5'5", 5'4", 5'6", 5'7", whatever it is, a lot of guys like to use the excuse, oh, I'm not 6 foot, oh, I'm not tall enough to dunk, oh, I need to be this high to dunk, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, it's true. Is it a little bit harder to dunk if you're shorter? Yeah, definitely. Because your reach isn't going to be as high, you're going to have a higher vertical to dunk, all these things, right? But it's still very, very possible. And there's a lot of examples of guys out there that are quite short and are dunking it and punching it. And even if they didn't start out that way they trained to be able to do this and be able to dunk, right? Like, but like when you finally hit that first dunk, it does really hit different, and it's quite impressive for someone to be dunking under 6 foot. Like I would say it's more impressive for someone to be punching a one-hander off lob if they're 5'6" than me hitting a windmill. Being completely honest, because I'm 6'4". Like, would you agree with that, Tom?
5'6" is insane to dunk. We'll just see like that. I'd say that's like more rare than someone windmilling at 6'4". Like how many 5'6" people can dunk?
Yeah.
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 Not many, man. Not many.
Barely anyone. Part of that is
Could be
because
more.
most guys around their height don't try.
Yeah.
Like there would be a lot more guys that could dunk around their height if more guys just tried, and part of that's just
That's facts.
people don't care about it, or they don't believe it's possible. And we're here to tell you it is possible, and you can do it if you're training the right way and you train hard enough for long enough, and you don't give up. And we're here to help you, and we're here to give you some pointers on how to actually go about this, right? Because we've helped and trained guys that are like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", be able to dunk. Tom's 5'11", so you're not crazy short, Tom, but you're under 6 foot, and that's what this podcast is about. And say even if you were, I guess 5'6", Tom, you would still be able to dunk.
I was just doing the math in my head, bro. I think I'd be able to dunk if I was under 5 foot.
What?
Probably.
Are you serious?
Like
with jumping 48 inches?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
You better hit a one-hander off lob.
I think so. At least like 5 foot, 5'1", I'd be able to dunk. Like even if it's a rim grazer, for sure. Like people like you only need to touch like 10-3, 10-4 to dunk.
Nah, dude, not 10-3. At least 10.
No, 10-3 is a bit of a piss take. Yeah, 10-4, 10-4.
10-3?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I'm saying the people are watching the podcast there, right there. Just fingers, bro. You just need fingers.
Yeah. No, I would say like at least fingertips. Yeah, to get like a soft, like kind of for it to look somewhat clean. If the lob, just to clarify, that's off lob, not off dribble.
Oh yeah, no.
To dunk off dribble, you need to be touching like what 10-7,
10-8. Yeah, 10-7, 10-8.
So there is a higher ceiling, but it's possible. It's still possible. Like we've seen guys do it, and even if and train to do it as well. So you don't necessarily have to be a freak in nature starting out. You just have to have that mindset and that willpower and commitment to the process. So like what are a few examples of guys we'd train, Tom, that have actually done this and gotten to the point of dunking under 6 foot? And
okay, so one I definitely want to shout out. He's like one of our hardest working athletes is Jirapong. And he's a little bit on the older side as well. When he first started training with us, like he was late 20s. He hasn't been training with us all too long, maybe like 6 months to a year. Probably more towards a year at this point because he signed up maybe October last year, and he's 5'7", and he's a basketball player from Thailand. But yeah, he can dunk off the dribble now. He can dunk off the lob, and he doesn't have like crazy long arms or anything. He can barely palm the ball. So yeah, he's one of the best examples of someone dunking at a, for basketball, 5'7's just short, right? Like there's no two ways about it. So extremely impressive.
Even Andy back in the day, he was 5'7", and he went from not dunking to dunking
Bro,
in like literally a month off lob.
month, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah, so yeah, Andy. So he couldn't touch the rim when he started with us, the first session at Arc. Or maybe he could like graze it, like the bottom of the rim with the tip of his finger. And then within a month we threw him his first lob. So like we were under the rim, chucked it to him, and he put it down, with like minimal clearance. But then towards the end, as he kept progressing, he could like hang on the rim with two hands, like go up, hang with two hands, throw his own lob, and get it himself. So pretty insane progress, like in a short time frame. That's at least like 8 to 10 inches on his vert within like 6 months to a year, which I'd say if anyone does that as well, like that's impressive. If you get 8 to 10 inches in a year, that's really good. Like, you got to be happy with that.
yeah, no, quite insane, quite insane. So jumping into actually how to dunk as a short king or a shorter guy. So, like, where like the real problem and where a lot of guys that are shorter mess up is they try to train as if they already have bounce, right? They're emphasizing too many like things like just plyometrics and just spamming those, and they're not putting enough emphasis on actually building raw strength and relative strength. Like the thing is, and a lot of like shorter guys that they don't realize is you have to be stupid strong to jump in the 40s. Like we're talking over like maybe not to hit your first dunk. You don't have to be this strong, but if you want to be like dunking easily, hitting two-handers, even windmills off lob and stuff like that, like you got to be squatting well over 2 times body weight. Like we talked in a podcast recently, Tom, you squat like 2.6 times your body weight. Like Andy, I can't remember how strong exactly he got. I'm not sure if he ever reached 2 times body weight in terms of how strong he was on his squatting pattern.
He was just under.
And he was dunking consistently off a lob, right? And so another example, Durapong, how strong is he right now? Like, how much is he lifting?
He's pretty strong, actually. I'm not exactly sure of his weight, but he'd be over 2 times body weight for sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's strong, bro. He's strong.
And I know a lot of the shorter guys that are like hitting crazy stuff. They're squatting well over 2 times body weight, sometimes even 3 times body weight. The thing is, if you're shorter, and why you need to train a little bit differently, and you need to put a lot more emphasis on getting stronger than say a taller guy in terms of your relative strength, like is because essentially because your limb lengths and your levers and all that sort of stuff, it's a little bit easier for you to move weight if you're a shorter guy. So it's like if you're 6'8" with crazy long femurs, it's quite difficult for you to move, say, 180 kilos through a full range of motion deep squat, and sometimes a taller guy can't even do that. But for a shorter guy, your body weight is lower, but because generally those guys have shorter femurs and all that sort of stuff, it's easier for them to move that same weight in a squatting pattern. So your relative strength needs to be much, much higher. You need to put much more of an emphasis on this. Otherwise, you're not going to jump higher, and it's going to be difficult for you to reach the levels you want to in terms of dunking easily. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Tom?
I mean, I hate putting general rules and stuff, saying like, you need to squat this if you want to jump this. But if you want to truly be elite at, let's just say, like anything under like 5'9", 5'8", where you are, for a basketball player, you're technically short, right? Maybe not in the general public, but I would say if you want to be truly elite, and I'm talking like, decently well over 40 inches, you should be squatting 2 times your body weight, arse to grass, as a non-negotiable. Like, there will be the outlier guy who just doesn't have to do that, but again, you probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you're the outlier guy. You probably don't have, the most insane genetics. You didn't come out of the womb, dunking, all of that. So you're listening to this podcast for a reason. Yeah, you're probably going to have to get to around 2 times body weight and just keep pushing that number up. There's actually this one guy, Austin, we were talking about him yesterday. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? He's from Hong Kong, I think. Pretty sure he's from Hong Kong. But he did like a 200 kilo front squat, bro, at like 69 kilos body weight. And that's insane, man. And that's front squat as well.
Yeah, that's over 3 times his body weight, and he's jumping like 48 inches. It's insane. So I hope you guys understand the point that you have to get stronger. And that doesn't mean you just turn into a powerlifter. You have to still train like a dunker. You have to still train like a jumper. You got to go out and jump with intent and make sure you're doing all the faster stuff. But if you're
Mm.
not getting stronger, you're not increasing your horsepower, your force production, your relative strength. Like you're not gonna get to where you want to be, which is obviously punching dunks easily. And I forgot where I was going to go with that, but yeah, that's really the key here, uh, and what you need to focus on, and it's what we get a lot of guys focusing on when we ride their training. When they're shorter, we have to see that relative strength number rise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, like for
yeah,
yourself, right? You could easily go and crank your squat numbers up, training like a powerlifter, bodybuilder. And you could, be squatting more than you currently are. But the challenge and the balance is doing it in the right way. In the sense of being a dunker or an athlete, it's a little bit harder because you can't just go and squat 3-4 times a week like how you might do if you're a powerlifter or a bodybuilder. Because you obviously got to work around your jump sessions, your plyo sessions, sprint sessions, all that. You got to take all of that into account and be a
yeah.
little bit more creative with it.
You gotta get stronger while emphasizing speed, while emphasizing it getting more elastic, while improving your rate of force development. All these
Yeah.
things. That's the key, and that's how you get your strength to actually translate into jumping higher. And like for someone that's shorter, like listening to this, oh shit, I gotta squat 2 times my body weight. Oh, that's a lot. Or like I would, and even for most of these guys that are shorter, they need to be jumping in the 40s. Like you need to be jumping 40 plus inches to just dunk. And that might sound intimidating, and especially if you're just starting out. Oh shit, I'm never gonna reach there. Blah 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 blah. But it's very very possible, and you'll be surprised. If you're training the right way and you're doing all the things we're talking about right now, like you can get there. I've seen it happen. It's just most people give up, or they don't try hard enough, or they get demotivated. And that's something I want to talk about as well: how to stay motivated as a shorter guy. Um, like when you're training to dunk and you're just trying to train to hit your first dunk, like that's a big milestone, and it's more difficult for someone that's taller to hit, and might take you a little bit longer. So that's where I tell our guys it's a very very important to have goals leading towards that, to stay motivated and to keep pushing and to know you're actually progressing, because it's very easy to you might be say
Mm.
10 inches away from dunking, and then you might add 4 inches to your vertical in the next 4 months, but you're still not dunking. And then you're just thinking in your head, oh shit, I haven't progressed. I'm still so far away from dunking. You know, even though you've actually got closer and even though you've progressed quite well, it's still
Yeah.
easy to get demotivated because you're not at your goal yet. So that's where it's very important to have stepping stones uh, before your overall big goal to help keep you motivated. And that's where having access to a lower rim uh, is so beneficial, because you could go, oh, I'm just going to hit my first dunk on 9 foot, and then you hit it. Oh, I'm going to try hit my first two-hander on 9 foot, and then you go to a higher rim or move the rim up, and then you try to hit your first dunk on 9-4, and then you kind of move up over time, and you can see yourself progressing, and that helps with motivation. It helps you keep pushing hard. Versus
Hmm.
if you're just trying to dunk on 10 foot and then every week you're just rocking up and you're not dunking, you're not hitting anything. It's hard to stay motivated at that point. And we see guys get demotivated because they don't have those little stepping stones
Mini goals.
towards, yeah, and say maybe you don't have access to a lower rim. So it might just be, oh, my first goal is to touch the backboard. Oh, my next goal is to touch three fingers above the backboard, or whatever, hand on the backboard, and then I'm going to touch the rim. Have strength goals as well. I want to get my squat to this. Oh, sick! I've added 20 kilos to my squat and I achieved that. That's awesome. Like you need to have all these little stepping stones. Otherwise, it's because if you lose motivation, you're never going to achieve your goal. So that's a very very key point. And I
Wise
know
words.
you had things like that for you, Tom, as well, when you were going through your journey.
Yeah, man. I was lucky in the sense that I hit my first dunk pretty quick, and could kind of move on. Obviously it helps being like a little bit taller, like 5'11". But yeah, like after I hit my first dunk, there's that weird time period where it's like, where do you go from here? Because yeah, you can just go and like spam rim grazes all day, or you can maybe move the rim down, try some other stuff like two-handers, and start working on stuff you're gonna go for. You know, when you're jumping 3, 4 inches higher, you can finally unlock it on 10 foot. So that's what I would do. Is just like I'd have a list, I'd go out, go do it, and then when I'm jumping higher, try and hit it on 10, just rinse and
Yeah.
repeat. That's a good thing about dunking though. Like there's always another dunk to hit, and literally even the best dunker of all time, Jordan Kilgannon, has a list of dunks he wants to hit, has a list that he will tick off, and he's got so many dunks that he wants to hit still, and he's literally done. What does it say? Like 120 something, like never before done dunks.
Yeah.
Whatever the number is, he's done all these new dunks, but again, there's still more to do. So, yeah, that's a beautiful thing about dunking, man.
Yeah, and more on that as well in terms of like goal setting and stuff like that. Like another key point is get really good at lobbing the ball. Become a master at lobbing the ball. Even if your goal is to dunk off dribble and that's your big goal, you want to be able to dunk off dribble. Like that's good, but it's going to take longer to get there, And that's where, because it's going to take longer to get there because you need to jump higher to do it. Like we said, you need to be touching around 10.8. So you might need to have a 40, 41, 42-inch vertical to be able to just dunk off the dribble, right? Just to hit a basic like one-hander off the dribble. That's where prior to that, if you learn how to lob, you can set yourself goals. Your first goal might be to hit a one-hander off lob. Then it might be to hit a two-hander off lob. Then it might be to windmill off lob. And then, if you're windmilling off lob, then, you're able to probably jump high enough to dunk off dribble. Then you start working on dribble dunks and you start trying to hit it. You see what I mean? You need to have stepping stones. So, and that's where learning to lob can be quite beneficial too. And even if you don't care about dunking off dribble, you just want to hit trick dunks because you're shorter, it's going to be harder to do them off dribble. So that's where becoming a master at learning to lob. Like you do most of your dunks off lob, Tom.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Because you're 5'11", not 6'4" like me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also another thing though. You can still learn off dribble dunks, but like usually it would take me like another year of progress to hit like the dunk that I hit off the lob off the dribble. Like from the time from hitting my first windmill off the lob, it probably took a year to hit the windmill off the dribble. East Bay, probably about the same. So yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. So key points here, like you need to get stupid strong in a squatting pattern. All the other muscles as well, like same principles apply. You need to get your relative strength like as high as possible and put a huge emphasis on that while still going out and jumping, while still practicing proper jump mechanics, while still learning to lob, while doing low rim dunking, while trying to get faster, trying to get more elastic, trying to improve your rate of force development. So you need to focus on those things, and then obviously you need to approach things with the right mindset. Except, hey, this isn't gonna take. Yeah, we helped Andy do it in 30 days. Not everyone's gonna be able to do that, and don't have that expectation. You need to have a long-term mindset and have those stepping stones to work towards before whatever your big goal is. Whether it's the dunk off dribble or hit an East Bay or whatever it is, to help you stay motivated and to help you keep pushing. As well. But is there any other key points someone needs to emphasize, Tom, if they're shorter to be able to dunk?
Obviously have good jump technique, that's important. But I think it's more, what you said is going to be the make or break. Like, you can do all the right training, that's very important. You can have the best jump technique, that's very important. You can be super strong, that's also very important. But the main thing is having that right mindset. Like, it will take ages, it will take a while. You got to know that because 99% of people aren't going to try and do what you're doing, especially dunking under like 5'9". Like, it's just something you do not see every single day. So you're going to have to do the work that 99% of people aren't going to do. You have to be willing to do that to be the 1%. So it's just having that mentality and reminding yourself every day that the thing you're going for is not easy, but that is the beauty of it. And that's why it's worth having.
Oh, yeah, dude. And that's why it's so impressive when someone does do it and he's doing crazy dunks, that's like 5'6", 5'7", because you don't see it, and most people aren't willing to do the work that's required to dunk at that height. And it is crazy impressive when someone does do that, and again, just a reminder, it's possible. And, even if your genetics aren't there, you can achieve it. You can achieve it. We've seen it time and time again.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
But
Ronnie Coleman.
Exactly. But if you guys are wanting help from us and you're wanting guidance from us, you can apply for coaching down below. There's a link down below if that interests you. But we hope this podcast helps you out and gets you going in the right direction in terms of your jump journey. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode of the Jumpmaster Rex podcast.
Peace out, guys.